Assalamu alaikum, Nazar Muhammad Chauhan from United States. I am pretty known on the print media, the electronic media and social media. You only have to Google me to know more about me, and now artificial intelligence questions on Chat GPT also portrays me in my role as a crusader. I was born rebel. Here I have added my Chat GPT intro also, and this documentary in fact was due to my extreme frustration with the role of the Pakistan Army since Pakistan's creation. Muhammad Ali Jinnah willingly or unwillingly became an agent for creation of Pakistan. It was a very unholy divide. I wish Mr. Gandhi and Maulana Abul Kalam Azad's advice had been taken well by the Muslims. But there was a Qadiani influence behind this. Qadianis created this, and Qadianis have been creating in last 75 years these problems. Last military chief Qamar Javed Bajwa, who destroyed Pakistan immensely, including Pakistani military, was Qadiani. Even the present military chief is also Qadiani. I have proofs as to these things. This documentary I have made through the help of artificial intelligence. To me, artificial intelligence is very transparent, is very clean, is very neutral in the sense of being whatever is in the database is taken up. I am really thankful to one of my friends for picking up all this data, and I hope you will understand truly what really Pakistani military has done to Pakistan in terms of destroying its economy, its solidarity, its reputation in the international arena, in the international world. Model Town incident, Model Town massacre was by ISI. Then APS was by ISI, by Raheel Sharif. Then that is why Ahsan was released. You name the criminal activity in Pakistan since its creation. It was by Pakistan military. I will not take much of your time, but in the end will only like to say that all of this is stated via artificial intelligence in this documentary is backed by proofs which are here in the CIA in Washington and even in my access if anybody needs it. So do watch it and form a strong opinion, a conviction about their negative role. And please, for God's sake, I request 250 million Pakistanis to form a group, lead a movement against this Pakistani military. They are terrorists in uniform. They are terrorists in uniform. Dollar generals, they are called world over. It is unimaginable the money, influence and power they wield. Pakistan is a very beautiful country. It is made. It should not have been created, but now it is created. It is our firm belief that we, the people of Pakistan, can take it to glory, and our coming generations which are suffering due to these 700,000 motherchode sewer generals. Pakistan Army 700,000. They need to be eliminated. They need to be sent to barracks, cut to size. Just imagine 5 million acres taken by them for corporate farming when whole of the world is going for organic farming. I will not take any further time of yours. Straight go to the movie, and please, I will wait for the comments in the comment section. Thank you very much. Pakistan Zindabad.
ChatGPT recognizes Nazar Chauhan's pivotal role during his tenure as an anti-corruption officer in Pakistan, particularly in his fight against the land-grabbing mafia while working with the liquidation board. He became known for exposing powerful individuals involved in illegal land dealings, recovering encroached properties, and spearheading legal actions against these offenders. Chauhan's efforts raised public awareness of the widespread issue of land encroachment, ensuring that influential figures were finally held accountable. He also championed reforms in land management and anti-corruption policies, pushing forward vital discussions on improving regulatory frameworks. Beyond his fight against corruption, Chauhan has been outspoken about the military's influence on Pakistan's political landscape. He argues that this involvement fosters corruption, undermines democracy, and blocks development. Chauhan has accused military officials of using their power to evade accountability and has been vocal about how this interference destabilizes democratic institutions. One of his most significant claims was against General Pervez Musharraf, accusing him of pressuring investigations to shield politicians from scrutiny, an example of how the military elite and political leaders collaborate to undermine justice. In addition to his political critiques, Chauhan often speaks of Rohaniyat, his cosmic dance, a blend of mysticism, spirituality, and humor. His spiritual perspective connects his societal critiques to a deeper, more cosmic understanding of life's purpose.
The Pakistan Army is the 6th largest army in the world. It is the largest and the only nuclear power in the Muslim world. It possesses short to medium-range ballistic missiles and is estimated to have a stockpile of 170 nuclear warheads. Pakistan also has an air and naval force resulting in a combined total of 700,000 personnel when including the Pakistan Army. It prides on an Islamic motto and values with unwavering dedication and service to the nation. But far can be from the truth, as there is a dark and sinister side to the story that has to be told. In this documentary, we aim to expose how this is not just any ordinary army. Rather, it is an organization that is embroiled in international criminality, smuggling, sponsoring of drug cartels, human trafficking, sex trafficking, illegal arms trading, funding itself from a corrupt business empire, and controls the judiciary, politicians, and bureaucracy. It is, ultimately, the biggest armed mafia machine in the world. What is a mafia? It is an informal term that is used to describe criminal organizations that bear a strong similarity to the organized crime groups from Italy. Interpol's Secretary General, Jürgen Stock, called Ndrangheta a highly sophisticated syndicate and one of the most dangerous criminal organizations in the world. Ndrangheta are one to Italy's oldest criminal organizations, formed in Calabria in the 18th century. The 'Ndrangheta has now become the largest and most powerful criminal organization, following the prosecution of the Sicilian Mafia, also known as Cosa Nostra. Both Cosa Nostra and the 'Ndrangheta are loose confederations of about 100 organized groups. The 'Ndrangheta has a strong grip on the economy and governance in Calabria. According to a leaked US embassy cable, the 'Ndrangheta controls huge segments of its territory and economy. Currently, its main activity is drug trafficking, but it also deals with human trafficking, sex trafficking, arms trafficking, money laundering, racketeering, extortion, and loan sharking. In addition, generating revenue from legal businesses such as construction, restaurants, and supermarkets. According to Europol, the 'Ndrangheta use their large profits to invest in struggling local businesses. a faction of the Ndrangheta based in Toronto allegedly relied on relationships with staff at two major Canadian banks, Royal Bank of Canada and TD, to facilitate their financial activities. The control over drugs and arms trade has netted the organization billions in profits. In 2008, Italian research institute Eurisps estimated the syndicate had a turnover of $44 billion, meaning it controlled roughly 3% of Italy's GDP. CNN reported that in 2018, experts estimated Ndrangheta controlled about 80% of all cocaine entering Europe from South America. Ndrangheta is the only mafia to be active in every continent, apart from Antarctica. Pakistan Army is the richest commercial entity in the entire world, which employs nearly 3 million people on its payroll with an annual revenue of $26.5 billion. This translates to 10% of Pakistan's GDP alone. Fauji Foundation was incorporated in 1954 by General Ayub Khan under the Charitable Endowment Act of 1890. Therefore, avoiding tax on revenues. The Fauji Foundation and Askari Bank have a combined revenue of $10 billion alone. The main companies include the Army Welfare Trust, the Army Foundation, the Shaheen Foundation and Beria Foundation. Their further subdivisions, NCL, National Logistics Cell, which is Pakistan's largest transport company comprising of 17,000 vehicles with 7,000 employees. FWO, Frontier Works Organization, is Pakistan's biggest contractor, responsible for the construction of highways, roads, bridges, dams, airports, railways, and canals. In addition, they are involved in construction projects in the United Arab Emirates. SCO, Special Communication Organization, which controls landline, cellular, and internet communication in Gilgit-Baltistan and Kashmir. In addition to the mentions, the Pakistan Army is also involved in hundreds of business ventures, too many to mention here. The Pakistan Rangers is also involved in commercial activities such as running hotels and petrol pumps in various districts. The employees within the empire consist of 50% of retired corps commanders absorbed into organizations into big positions with big salaries. 30% of retired army officers become ambassadors, work in foreign services or in bureaucracy. 20% of retired army officers appointed for government projects official advisory. In addition, they receive income from the retirement fund, offered properties, plots and agricultural land. For example, DHA Islamabad and DHA Karachi. Pakistan is getting poorer and poorer, whilst the Pakistan Army is getting richer and richer. Turbulent 1950s political leadership. Liaquat Ali Khan, the first Prime Minister of Pakistan, survived an attempted coup in March 1951 by left-wing political opponents and segments of the Pakistani military. On the 16th of October, 1951, Khan was shot twice in the chest while he was addressing a gathering of 100,000 at Company Gardens, Rawalpindi. Interestingly, it was the same location where ex-Prime Minister Benazir Bhutto was assassinated in 2007. Following the assassination of Liaquat Ali Khan, Khawaja Nazimuddin was asked to take over the premiership. With a deteriorating economy, violence and rioting, Malik Ghulam, the Governor-General, advised Nazimuddin to step down. Nazimuddin refused and Malik Ghulam used reserve powers granted in the Government of India Act 1935 and dismissed Nazimuddin in 1953. Following elections in 1955, Chaudhry Muhammad Ali became the Prime Minister. However, lost political endorsement from his party when failing to investigate the allegations on vote rigging and the secret defections. Subsequently, resigning 1 year into his tenure in 1956. Hussein Shahid Suhrawardy served as the Prime Minister of Pakistan in 1956. Suhrawardy's short-lived premiership came to an end when he resigned under pressure from President Iskandar Mirza in 1957 and was arrested by the martial law government after the 1958 military coup in Pakistan. Ibrahim Ismail Chandragar, sixth Prime Minister of Pakistan, appointed on the 17th of October, 1957. He resigned due to a vote of no confidence on the 11th of December, 1957, against him. Malik Feroz Khan Noon served as the 7th Prime Minister of Pakistan from December 1957 until on the 7th of October, 1958. President Mirza abrogated the constitution after sending a letter to Prime Minister Feroz announcing the coup d'etat. President Mirza declared martial law and appointed General Ayub Khan Chief Martial Law Administrator, introducing over a decade of military rule in Pakistan. Genocide of Dhaka. It was December 1970 and the Awami League Party, led by Sheikh Mujibur Rahman based in East Pakistan, won the national elections. However, the general of the Pakistan Army, Yahya Khan, had other ideas and blocked the power transition. The Pakistan Army, in March 1971, then intervened and politically engineered the situation by recruiting local pro-Pakistan Bengalis and non-Bengalis, including members of the Islamic organization Jamaat-e-Islami, for its operations against Bengali factions. Yahya Khan once boasted that he knew East Pakistan like the palm of his hand and that he knew East Pakistan better than East Pakistanis know it themselves. As the violence escalated throughout the summer, a large number of refugees streamed into Indian territory, which New Delhi used as an excuse to intervene militarily in early December 1971. The 9-month conflict ended with the surrender of the Pakistani army on December 16. It was a humiliating defeat for the Pakistan army. After the surrender, Khan resigned from the military command and transferred the presidency to Zulfikar Ali Bhutto. Khan's short regime was regarded as the leading cause of the breakup of Pakistan. He's considered to be the main architect of the genocide. The death toll is estimated to have been between 300,000 and 3 million people, with hundreds of thousands of women raped. During his presidency, Bhutto secured the release of 93,000 prisoners of war and reclaimed 5,000 square miles of Indian-held territory through the Simla Agreement. Despite winning the 1977 parliamentary elections, Bhutto faced allegations of widespread vote rigging, sparking violence across the country. On the 5th of July, 1977, Bhutto was deposed in a military coup by Army Chief Mohammad Zia-ul-Haq. Bhutto was then controversially tried and executed in 1979. The Odri Camp Incident. The 10th of April, 1988, Rawalpindi. An arms depot exploded, causing hundreds of weapons like mines, stingers, SA-7s, blue pipes, anti-tank missiles, rockets and phosphorus bombs to be fired in all directions. This resulted in the deaths of 100 innocent civilians and over 1,000 injured. In addition, an elected member of the National Assembly of Pakistan, Muhammad Hakan Abbasi, died when 2 rockets hit the car he was traveling in. Mr. Abbasi was a retired Air Force Commodore who became a billionaire through lucrative construction projects in the Arabian Peninsula. Was this just an accident, or was it targeted killing? It was alleged that the cause of the explosion was a box full of 122mm rockets that slid and fell on the ground and exploded. The weapons at the depot were supplied by the United States and were intended to be used against the Soviet Union in Afghanistan. Apparently, the number of weapons stored were twice the capacity limit for the depot. President of Pakistan, Zia-ul-Haq, was in Kuwait, cut short his visit and headed back to Pakistan. However, before Zia-ul-Haq returned, an investigation team from the United States already arrived in Pakistan. This was on the basis of a suspicion that the Pakistan Army was selling these US-supplied weapons on the side, possibly stingers, to Iran. 4 days later, in Geneva, a settlement was reached for Soviet troops to withdraw from Afghanistan. Pakistan now had a huge stockpile of weapons at their disposal. A number of investigative reports were made and highlighted that the Pakistan intelligence services should be held accountable and punished. The then Prime Minister Mohammad Khan Junajo said a committee report was ready and that it would be presented in Parliament. However, President Zia-ul-Haq had other plans and dissolved the parliament before any such report was presented. In conclusion, we still do not fully know who or what was behind this incident. It still remains a mystery. The 1988 elections and Hamid Gul. The Pakistan People's Party, PPP, led by Benazir Bhutto, was due to win the 1988 national elections. Hamid Gul, the Under-Director of the Inter-Services Intelligence, ISI, decided to politically engineer an attempt to stop the PPP from winning the elections. The plan was to form a new party called Islami Jamhuri Ittihad, IJI, or the Islamic Democratic Alliance. It was an alliance of 9 political parties, including the largest party, the Pakistan Muslim League PML, led by Nawaz Sharif. the attempt to stop Benazir Bhutto becoming the Prime Minister of Pakistan failed. However, the then President of Pakistan Ghulam Ishaq Khan dissolved the government using the 8th Amendment of the Constitution of Pakistan to dismiss Prime Minister Benazir Bhutto's government over corruption charges and deteriorating law and order situation, and called for fresh elections. This time round, the IJI won the elections, with Nawaz Sharif becoming the Prime Minister in 1990. In 1996, Asghar Khan, who had formed Tehrik-i-Istiqlal, had filed a constitutional petition in the Supreme Court, requesting it to look into allegations that the ISI had financed several politicians during the 1990 elections to create the IJI, and prevent Benazir Bhutto's PPP from winning. Mirza Aslam Beg, the former chief of Pakistan's spy agency, was forced to admit to spending millions of military dollars to influence an election during a humiliating court hearing. Pakistan, USA and War on Terror. Pakistan is one of 4 countries to receive direct cash transfers from the United States. It has costed an estimated $2,374 million to the US taxpayer between 2002 and 2008. This cash was given to Pakistan for help in fighting terrorism. Between 2002 and 2013, Pakistan received an estimated total of $26 billion in economic, military aid and sales of military equipment. There is also clear evidence of corruption within the Pakistani army. The United States has provided millions of dollars for repairs to military equipment and building construction, with no evidence provided by the Pakistan army. In addition, many of the funds were diverted, even though they were intended to be spent for military provisions. Pakistan had continued to receive around $80 million per month for military operations during ceasefire periods when troops were in their barracks. It seems that Pakistan's military and security services have for many years been a black hole for US funds. Pakistan sells citizens to the United States. Pakistani authorities have abducted hundreds of people, accused them of terrorist ties, and held them in secret locations or handed them over to US authorities for American-offered rewards, Amnesty International claimed in a report. The routine US practice of offering bounties running to thousands of dollars for unidentified terror suspects has led to illegal detentions of innocent people, said Claudio Cordwan, Senior Director of Research at Amnesty International. We have earned bounties totaling millions of dollars. Those who habitually accuse us of not doing enough on the war on terror should simply ask the CIA how much prize money it has paid to the government in Pakistan. Musharraf said, without specifying how much was paid. Cordwan said many detainees ended up in secret locations or at the US prisons, including Guantanamo Bay and Bagram, north of Kabul. Cordwan said, the road to Guantanamo very literally starts in Pakistan. Amnesty said numerous detainees claimed that US agents were present during interrogations that took place in Pakistan. The report also details the unlawful transfer of detainees into US custody. During a trip to the United States, Musharraf told CNN that CIA agents were working in city of Quetta, with Pakistani counterparts searching for militants. Many innocents, including children and women, have also been rounded up in Pakistan under the pretext of the war on terror, the Amnesty report said. Nothing is known about the fate and whereabouts of the women and children. The report also described the detentions and killings of reporters and activists who had been targeted by Pakistani authorities. These include Hayatullah Khan, a journalist whose bullet-riddled body was found in the North Waziristan tribal region in June, more than 6 months after being detained. Washington Post of September 12, 1994, which describes a disturbing link between narcotics and terrorism. The report from Karachi, headlined, Heroin plan by top Pakistanis alleged, quotes Pakistan's former Prime Minister, Nawaz Sharif, saying that drug deals were to pay for covert operations. This brings to mind other reports not so long ago of Pakistani involvement in using the Bank of Credit and Commerce International, BCCI, to launder drug money that was eventually believed to have been used in financing terrorist groups involved in the New York World Trade Center bombing. The report cites Pakistan's army chief and head of intelligence agency proposing to then Prime Minister Sharif a detailed blueprint for selling heroin to pay for the country's covert military operations in early 1991. About 70 tons of heroin annually accounts for a significant part of the heroin consumed in the United States is a matter of concern, under any circumstances. That a part of the same country's intelligence establishment can conceive blueprints to use profits from smuggling these drugs to support insurgency. The United Nations says that as much as 80% of the heroin in Europe comes from the region. Drug corruption has permeated virtually all segments of Pakistani society, and that drug kingpins were closely connected to the country's key institutions of power, including the president and military intelligence agencies. Rahmat Shah Afridi, the editor of the Frontier Post and Maidan National dailies, after 9 years in prison on trumped-up drugs charges, was freed on parole on the 24th of May 2008 on the orders of Punjab's Interior Ministry. Mr. Afridi said to journalists on his release, "I was arrested after my paper published a report that the then Director General of the Anti-Narcotics Force, Zafar Abbas, and some army officers were involved in drug smuggling." Reporters Without Borders were able to show that his arrest was an act of revenge for articles revealing the involvement of the ANF, political and military officials in corruption and abuse of authority. In Pakistan, the army advises of rates for smuggling of various items, such as weapons and drugs. They also advise on how the goods should be concealed. It is estimated that the army officers collect over $100,000 per day. Pakistani UN peacekeepers charged with disarming Congolese militia instead might have engaged in gold and weapons trafficking with militia members, the BBC had reported. The UN mission in Congo said it had been aware of the allegations of gold and weapons trafficking in 2004 to 2005 in the Ituri district in northeastern Congo, and the UN's internal watchdog launched an inquiry in 2006 soon after the allegations surfaced. The UN mission in Congo said it had been aware of the allegations of gold and weapons trafficking in 2004 to 2005 in the Ituri district in northeastern Congo. UN force also has been hit by scandal. The United Nations found in 2005 that peacekeepers in Congo had sex with Congolese women and girls, usually in exchange for food or small sums of money. The BBC also quoted Evarista Anjasubu, a businessman in northeastern Congo, as saying he had known of gold transactions between Pakistani officers and two of the most notorious militia leaders. The BBC quoted a witness statement given to the UN by a Congolese officer working to disarm militiamen. Repeatedly he saw militia who had been disarmed one day, but the next day would become rearmed again. The information he could obtain was always the same, that it would be the Pakistani battalion giving arms back to the militia. Pakistani officers were involved in illegal smuggling of between $2 to $5 million in gold out of Ituri. "We have very solid information on this," said Annick van Woudenberg, a senior researcher with US-based Human Rights Watch. The accusations are from late 2005, when Pakistani peacekeepers were stationed in the mining town of Mungwalu in the eastern Ituri district, where fighting between ethnic militias continued after the official end of a 1998 to 2003 war. A subsequent inquiry was squashed because of pressure to save embarrassment to Pakistan, the top UN troop contributing country for peacekeeping operations. Human traffickers and Federal Investigation Agency, FIA, have a partnership which allows human trafficking to take place and thrive. This is facilitated with bribes or actual facilitation by the FIA themselves. Any potential crackdown attempt is often thwarted due to tip-offs by the FIA to the human traffickers. Moreover, the connection between corrupt officials and human traffickers has far-reaching consequences, as it extends beyond individual acts of bribery. These officials often protect and shield traffickers from prosecution, creating an environment where the criminal networks can operate without fear of being brought to justice. This further exacerbates the suffering of victims who are left vulnerable and unsupported, unable to escape the clutches of their exploiters. Fuel smuggling. As mentioned earlier, the Pakistan Army has stakes in petrol stations. These petrol stations require a steady and assured supply of fuel. The Pakistan Army has made arrangements for this through the smuggling of Iranian fuel through Balochistan via Sistan. Footage can be seen of hundreds of trucks loaded with fuel in drums. These drums are offloaded and then distributed across cities in Pakistan. In addition, Hidayat-ur-Rehman Baloch, a member of the Provincial Assembly, MPA, for Gowada, accused the Coast Guards of stealing oil and local resources from the port city of Gowada. Every day, drugs are being supplied from boats here, but Pakistan Coast Guards are singling out poor Baloch people and seizing their oil, he said. Rather than contributing to the state treasury, Coast Guard officials allegedly amass personal wealth by siphoning off resources from the region. Policy execution and manipulation. Pakistan Army uses certain methods to execute certain policies or agendas. These methods are used on politicians, the judiciary, media, and on individuals from within the army. The classic method is bribery. This can be in the form of promotion, cash, properties, or land. Another classic method used, if bribery does not work, is blackmail. The most common forms of blackmail are loss of position, wealth, properties, or land. There are certain other types of blackmail which are used if the initial types do not work. These include illegal imprisonment, threats, or harassment of family members. We also have evidence of hidden video recordings that can be used against individuals, which can be potentially used at a certain time in the future. These video recordings show individuals such as politicians, judges, and army officers in compromised situations, usually engaging with illegal sexual acts with prostitutes. A recent such video leaked is of the former Chief of Pakistan Army Staff General Qamar Bajwa. It could be highly probable that such a video may have been used in order to execute a policy of regime change and to remove Imran Khan from power through a manufactured vote of no confidence. In addition, any assets based in Pakistan or overseas may also have been seized. It is also worth mentioning that these blackmail videos are usually held by the echelons of power in both Pakistan and in Washington. The final method of blackmail is the threat of death. In many cases, the Pakistan Army has no hesitation in actually executing this method. An example of this is the assassination of the investigative journalist, Arshad Sharif. Arshad Sharif was forced out of Pakistan through threats and sought refuge in the United Arab Emirates. He was eventually forced by the UAE authorities and the ISI agents there. He eventually found a temporary reprieve in Kenya until he was brutally murdered. Till this day, there has been no thorough investigation through the judiciary as the case has not been allowed to be submitted. This points to clear hallmarks of collusion between Pakistan Army, ISI, and Kenyan authorities in the execution of Arshad Sharif. It was not enough that Imran Khan was removed from office. Once the establishment realized that the public was not happy with the outcome, it was time to take action. This was in a form of raising over 150 trumped-up court cases. As this was having little or no effect in quelling political support for Imran Khan, it was time to carry out an assassination. As this failed, and resulted in more support for Khan, keeping him away from the public was the option before the elections in 2024 in the form of imprisonment. At the same time, harassment and imprisonment of Imran Khan supporters was being carried out ever since the vote of no confidence. Some supporters have paid for it with their lives, as in the case of Ali Bilal, also known as Zili Shah, an innocent PTI worker with special needs, tortured to death at the behest of authorities. This was to make an example for the rest of the nation. Prior to the elections, media had to be controlled in order to push an establishment agenda. However, journalists like Imran Riaz Khan would not give in and was subsequently abducted for a second time. The Pakistan Army was heavily involved in facilitating vote rigging by changing the outcomes of the polling station results in the elections. This was after seeing such a high voter turnout and votes cast in favor of Imran Khan's independent representatives, which would have easily resulted in a two-third majority government had the Pakistan Army not intervened. The Pakistan Army, Ukraine, Israel and US IMF deals. Why was it so imperative to remove Imran Khan from power and make sure that he could not be re-elected in the 2024 elections? The answer can be in twofold. 1. To ensure that there is a pro-Ukraine stance by Pakistan, and second, that there can be no response by Pakistan after Israel's reaction following October 7th. In return, Pakistan, or more specifically, the Pakistan Army, would be rewarded. As Pakistan is a production hub for basic military equipment, the United States required munitions following serious shortages in Ukraine. Records detailing the arms transactions were leaked to The Intercept in early 2023 by a source within the Pakistani military. An article in the New York Times in September 2023 stated weapons deals were brokered, according to the documents, by Global Military Products, a subsidiary of Global Ordnance, a controversial arms dealer whose entanglements with less than reputable figures in Ukraine. Documents outlining the money trail and talks with U.S. officials include American and Pakistani contracts, licensing, and requisition documents related to U.S. brokered deals to buy Pakistani military weapons for Ukraine. In return, Pakistan would be rewarded with an IMF bailout program in order to avoid an economic disaster. Pakistan was already being advised by the IMF to refinance debt obligations and was struggling. However, with the weapons deals, Pakistan was granted a lifeline. The Pakistani ambassador to the US, Masood Khan, met with Assistant Secretary of State Donald Lu on May 23. The purpose of the meeting was to discuss how Pakistan can assist with munition supplies to Ukraine. In return, the United States cleared the payment, which is estimated at almost $1 billion. Arif Rafiq, a non-resident scholar at the Middle East Institute and a specialist on Pakistan, stated to The Intercept, "The premise is that we have to save Ukraine. We have to save this frontier of democracy on the eastern perimeter of Europe, and then this brown Asian country has to pay the price. So, they can be a dictatorship, their people can be denied the freedoms." Missile systems like the Anza Mark II, the anti-aircraft system, is being exported and supplied to Ukraine via a Polish intermediator. It is also suspected that Ukrainian gunners are using Yarmouk rockets made in Pakistan. In addition, the Ukrainian military also uses Pakistani 122mm projectiles for Soviet-made artillery. In particular, the two S-1 Gvozdika self-propelled artillery systems of Ukrainian forces are equipped with Pakistani projectiles. Pakistan is also thought to be supplying 155mm shells to Ukraine. It is suspected that there is a covert supply chain to Israel. The British Royal Air Force's Akrotiri base in Cyprus has become a key military hub for supplying munitions to Israel during its war with the Palestinian resistance. There have been reported instances of clandestine interactions between Pakistan's ISI and Israel. The type of munitions that would be sourced to Israel is the 155mm shells. This is also the same munition that Ukraine has been using, with an estimated 7,000 to 9,000 being fired on a daily basis. The suspected route of supply starts with a British transport plane departing from Bahrain and arriving at No Khan base, Rawalpindi, Pakistan. Here, it is loaded and returns to Bahrain. The next stage would be to fly to Dokkum, Oman, before heading to the British Royal Air Force's Akrotiri base in Cyprus. The final stage is the export to Israel. Both Pakistan and the United Kingdom have not confirmed nor denied these allegations. Even though these reports have not been independently verified, it should not come as a shock or surprise if indeed these are true.
Assalamu alaikum. Well, after watching this documentary, I think all of you must be very, very angry at the conduct of Pakistani army, and there were many among us who used to praise them and really used to support them. But this is where they have landed us. It's a dark night. It's the 19th of the moonlit year. I'm wearing black. I'm very upset. I'm extremely disappointed at the developments in Pakistan. I am in exile in USA since last 8 years. I dream of seeing a better Pakistan, and I dream of doing something for Pakistan, though having little stakes over there. In December, I think by December, hopefully it will be all okay. But my advice to you after watching this movie, come to this conclusion and conviction that they are the real culprits. They are criminal, it's a rogue army, it's a garrison state, and it's a military inc. As 2 decades back, Dr. Aisha Siddiqa wrote. There is no light at the end of the tunnel if the things remain in their control. They have got even the land for farming, for corporate farming. They only want more money, more power, and these 700,000 Maroons will kill 250 million Pakistanis. Teeming million of poor Pakistanis need to stand up for their right And I know more than 95% of Pakistanis hate Pakistani rogue military from the core of their heart. But what they need to do now is to come forward to really march towards their general headquarters to get rid of them. It will help you in having a bright future for the next generations. The Pakistan which my parents dreamt of, this is not that Pakistan. And they will further worsen it. They will break Pakistan. They will go to any extent. Just imagine having an island in Australia or huge properties back here in US, and what they have been doing, killing their own people. APS shreds you. You shudders really that they killed small children and pregnant women in the Model Town massacre, and kidnappings and these forged elections, fraud elections. I sincerely hope and pray Pakistanis to stand up against them. This is the right moment to stand up against them. They have broken every institution. Supreme Court is in divide. They will go to any extent to destroy our motherland. Please, for God's sake, I'll be really very, very happy if you, after seeing this documentary, have a full go at them. God be with you people. Down with Pakistani rogue army. Pakistani army sucks. As I was standing all by myself, alone before the US consulate in New York. Yes, they do suck. And this is a time to eliminate them completely. Take very good care of yourself. Pakistan Zindabad.